Which do I use? Horn, ring, or greatest glory? Does Horn really have overrage issues? And which one of these accessories is best for Liu Che? Today we're diving deep into the rage mechanics, and also I did both mathematical calculation and simulation testing to find out which accessory is giving us the most amount of DPS bonus. So buckle up, because I'm gonna walk you through the secrets of Liu Che. Let us start off with the rage engine and rage mechanics. There's actually common misconception that, we are generating 100 rage each second. And also, if you take a look into the expertise skill of Liu Che, he is also doing one extra basic attack. That basically means, we thought that it was giving us 100 more extra rage. And during that turn, we have generated 200 rage. And Horn is gonna have some, overrage issues. That's what we thought. And also, I thought that way as well. But when I looked deep into the rage mechanics, let's go back to the sheet, that wasn't the case. So let me quickly explain the rage mechanics. When we look into the rage mechanics, it's a little bit, more complicated than we used to think. Let's say when you're dueling someone, right? When you're dueling someone, you are doing white damage to the target, and that target is doing white damage to you as well. And that white damage actually contains your auto attack and also counter attack damage. So these two are combined that we see the white damage when we are dueling someone. However, the auto attack and counter attack damage, they generate different amount of rage. For example, the auto attack is actually generating 86 rage, and this counter attack damage is generating 16 rage, generating total of 102 rage per second. Also, the rage mechanics goes a little bit deep, like a little bit complicated. There's actually compensation for auto attack, so you could generate 10 more rage with your auto attack, and then also another 10 more rage with the counter attack damage. This compensation happens when you are actually, losing the duel. When your HP is lower than your enemy, now you start, generating these extra rages. And the rage cap that we all know is 220 rage per second is the rage cap. And if you take a look into how this works, like 1 versus 1 you are dueling, you are generating 102 rage per second. However, if you are losing the duel, like 1 versus 1 situation, you are now generating 20 more rage. That's totaling 122 rage. And if you are dueling 1 versus 2, it's gonna be 148, so on. And starting from 4 or more targets, when you are getting swarmed, you are now generating 200 rage per second. This is because of this counterattack damage, right? The more target swarm you, the more counterattack damage you're doing. For example, if 10 target is swarming you, right, just an example, then you are gonna be generating 160 rage per second, an extra 160 rage, thanks to your counterattack damage. Which is why when we take a look into the rally or garrison situations, people, don't really use Horn that much, most of the time. I say most of the time because Horn could still be useful in defending passes. Other than that, you are usually expecting to get swarmed, which is why Horn is not that much useful in terms of rally and garrison situation. But today we are talking about open field, only open field, okay? Now, in terms of open field, we also gotta think of how the open field fight works. Most of the time, you're not really actually dueling someone when the ball fight happens, right? When you attack someone, that target is usually attacking someone else, or it's running back, which means that majority of the time you are gonna be doing auto attack damage, which is generating 86 rage. You don't really benefit from this counter attack, extra rage, because when you get attacked, you are either dead in an instant or you run back immediately and then re-engage to the fight, right? So on open field, we're actually generating the rage slowest because we are doing only auto attack damage. And besides the 86 rage, you are also generating a little bit more rage in terms of the talent. For example, we do have a rage engine here, Undying Fury, which is giving us 9 extra rage per basic attack. And also we do have Burning Blood here, a talent which is giving us 6 extra rage per second. However, attack tree is not really good for generating rage. It doesn't have a rage engine. For example, we all know that, support talent tree, we have this regenerate, and also in the skill talent tree, we do have regenerate. But the attack talent tree is also, worse than we thought. The skill talent tree and support talent tree both have this burning blood as well, just like the attack talent tree. However, burning blood talent on support and skill talent tree, they are actually generating 9 extra rage. The attack talent tree is generating and giving you 6 extra rage, 3 less rage as compared to the skill and support talent tree, not to mention the regenerate talent, right? And you might be thinking that hey, it's only 3 rage, but it actually does make difference. I'm gonna explain that very soon. Okay, so now we know how much rage that we are generating on open field when we are playing Liu Che, right? I did some simulation. This is the rage engine simulation. And let me walk you through what's going on here. First, here I simulated no horn situation. And also we are using Liu Che as a primary commander. This can include like a Liu Che Alex combo that we commonly see today, or Liu Che William Wallace combo. In this case, we can see that without the horn, Liu Che is actually casting his skill every 9 seconds. And because the attack talent tree doesn't have the regenerate talent, all the subsequent skill cycles are gonna be the same. And here I am assuming that the Liu Che Expertise skill is popping off 2 times within this window, and Liu Che Expertise skill is actually gonna generate you 86 rage. This is very important. Like I explained before, auto attack is generating 86 rage, right? Combo attack is basically means an extra basic attack or auto attack generating 1 basic attack worth of rage, which is, I just explained, it is going to be the 86 rage. And I'm just assuming that we are the expertise skill is popping off 2 times. This is very safe assumption just because the expertise skill has 25% chance to trigger every second. Just for a simple math, yes, it's gonna trigger once every 4 seconds, right? In order to verify this, I did a simulation and found out like how many times the expertise skill was popping off. And this was the simulation that I did. So basically I ran Liu Che without any equipment, and I waited, this expertise skills to pop off 100 times. And in this case, Liu Che's expertise skill procced 100 times in 6 minutes 42 seconds. If you calculate the average, Liu Che's skill is proccing 1 time every 4.02 seconds. So it's popping off every 4 seconds. Verifying our assumption, Liu Che's expertise skill popping off once every 4 seconds is a very, very safe assumption. I mean, I could have run this, test and waited for the skill to proc like 1,000 times. The more data we have, it's gonna be more accurate, right? The problem here was Rock Simulator doesn't give you like that detailed of a report, and it doesn't really tell you how many times the expertise popped off. I had to like wait here and count myself manually up until 100 times to get this number. If I counted up until 1,000, I think I'm gonna lose my sanity. I just did this 100 times, and 1 time every 4 seconds sounds about right? Without horn, Liu Che was casting his skill on open field every 9 seconds. Now, what if we add the horn? I'm also assuming that the horn is going to proc 2 times, and we can already see that the horn is helping us to shave off 1 entire second. Even if it procs like only 1 time in the duration of this first skill cycle, it is still being enough 1 second earlier than the previous simulation. And I also looked into the what if the horn actually procs at the same time with the expertise skill. In that case, yes, we are overraging, but it's just very minuscule. We are only overraging 17 rage during that turn. It is also being enough to save us 1 second, and we can cast our skill every 8 seconds. Even if the horn procs only 1 time, it is still being enough to shave off 1 second. We're kind of seeing that horn is gonna be very effective when we are playing Liu Che primary. Again, with the horn proc, I also did the same. I waited the horn to proc 100 times in this situation. And Horn actually procced 100 times in 5 minutes, 50 seconds. And that was giving us 1 proc every 3.5 seconds. And this is also looks to be just about right because Horn does have 30% chance to proc. And just for fun, Expertise skill was actually generating 21.5 rage per second. And Horn was generating 14.3 rage per second. So there's kind of like a huge difference between, you know, Horn and Expertise skill. Expertise skill just generates tremendous amount of more rage. I also simulated different case of scenario. This time I'm simulating William Wallace as a primary because a lot of players also play, you know, William Wallace primary. Unlike attack talent tree, smite talent tree is not as bad as, you know, generating a rage. If we take a look into this smite talent tree, it still has the burning blood. This time it has a little bit different name. It's ambitious. It is gonna be giving us 9 extra rage per second with our basic attack. And other than that, the smite talent tree also doesn't have the regenerate, so it's gonna be generating rage slower as compared to the skill talent tree or support talent tree. Let's go back to our sheet. However, if we take a look into the simulation, that extra 3 rage per second is being enough to shave off 1 entire second as compared to this. So when LC is primary, you are casting your skill every 9 seconds. This is without Horn. William Wallace is primary, you are casting your skill every 8 seconds. This is also without Horn as well. Now if we add Horn, Horn is also gonna be enough for you to shave off 1 second. I'm also assuming that Horn is gonna proc off 2 times here. This is just an assumption. If we do that, Horn can potentially shave off 1 second and William will be casting his skill every 7 seconds. However, if the procs actually overlap with the Liu Che's expertise skill, then we are now overaging and Horn is not gonna be enough to shave off 1 second. But there is still gonna be a potential that Horn is gonna be shaving off that 1 precious second. Before we proceed, I wanna answer you guys one very interesting question is that does, you know, crit Horn, you know, make a difference? In the Liu Che Alex case, crit Horn does make a difference. For example, if we replace the 50 rage by 65 rage, now we are casting our skills every 7 seconds if we have a crit Horn. Then when William Wallace is primary, crit Horn did not make that much difference. I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, crit Horn is gonna be like completely useless on William Wallace, but the effectiveness of crit Horn is actually not as impressive as having just a regular Horn. The third simulation I actually simulated Scipio and LC. Scipio does have a rage engine thanks to the support talent tree. So without Horn, we are casting our first skill every 8 seconds. If we add Horn here, we have a chance to shave off 1 second and it can go down to 7 seconds. With the regenerate talent, if we put 3 points here, I recommend putting 3 points even if it is causing us overage. With 3 points into regenerate talent, yes, we are overaging quite a bit. In this turn we overaged by 34 and in this turn we also overaged by 34. But if we assume that expertise skill is gonna pop off 2 times without overlapping the regenerate, it is being enough for us to cast our skill every 6 seconds. If we put only 2 points, people actually do this quite often because, you know, we assume that it's gonna be much more overage. But if we put 2 points here and imagine the exact same scenario, now we are not casting our skill every 6 seconds. There's just a tiny bit rage that we are missing here. We are casting our skill every 7 seconds. So even if putting 3, you know, points into regenerate is gonna cause us an overage issue, it is still being recommended to put that point there. It does give us potential to cast our skill every 6 seconds. Now we know that Horn can be very, very useful. Highly recommend Horn when you are using LC as a primary. And Horn can still be useful, kind of like a medium useful for William Wallace primary case. When you are running Scipio, if you don't care about casting your first kill, Horn is not that much useful when you are playing with Scipio and LC. But in all these cases, Horn can still be useful and shave off that 1 precious second. Does this mean Horn is mandatory for LC? Not quite yet, because we have to take a look into the DPS comparison with the Ring and Greatest Glory as well. Alright, so in order to compare the DPS between, Ring, Greatest Glory and Horn, I just had to calculate what is the average DPS increase when we are using the Ring. Went through a great deal of trouble actually trying to find the average DPS increase by Ring, and I did it, man. First, what I did was, my basic math was given as 6.66%. But I wasn't sure with my math, so I asked ChatGPT and Gemini AI. Those two AI engine was actually given us the number of almost 2% damage bonus. And this number was a little bit on a higher side. I was a little bit doubtful myself with the engine, because there's a possibility that, the engine doesn't understand the Rise of Kingdoms mechanics, right? So I contacted my, a friend, and he is the mathematical genius guy who now works at Apple, and he is doing senior on the machine learning and AI side of the Apple. He is quite the mathematical genius friend of mine from my high school, right? So he took a look into the calculation of this AI engine, and he was like, okay, that looks about right. I don't think there's an error. But again, my friend doesn't play Rise of Kingdoms. AI engine might not understand the game fully, right? Secondly, I also contacted one guy. By the way, shout out to Davor. He's a player who's also into the, nerdy side, the mathematical side of the Rise of Kingdoms. I like to consult things with him before I'm making my videos as well, just to, get a second opinion, right? And he actually works on the Python, the programming language. Basically, he simulated Ring in the Python. He ran this simulation 1 million times to find out the average. And according to his simulation, 7.14%. The numbers are kind of close, right? The reason why we were struggling to find that the exact, average damage increase when we are using Ring is that Ring actually has a 10% chance to proc, and it can proc up to, 1 times every 5 seconds. This means that there is a chance that Ring can proc every 5 seconds, even though it has a 10% chance to proc. At the end of the day, it is RNG. And Ring can still proc every 5 seconds. On the other hand, Ring can also not proc forever, infinitely. Which is why finding an average number that can possibly go infinitely, it was quite the difficult task. So I also did a simulation again just to find the average. I also counted and waited up until the Ring procced 100 times, and I just calculated the average. And according to the simulation that I did in the Rock Simulator, Ring procced 100 times in 24 minutes, 27 seconds. Ring was proccing on average once every 14.7 seconds. And that was giving us a damage bonus of 6.81%. From all these simulations, asking AI and everything, here I'm just gonna be assuming that on average, Ring was giving us 7% damage bonus. As we know, Greatest Glory is gonna just straight up boost the Liu Che damage by 5%, and Horn actually is a 10% DPS increase. If we go ahead and see this, calculated the DPS with Horn and without Horn here, the average was around 10% DPS increase when we are using Horn. So now we have the average DPS increase numbers. Now we have to consider one thing before we make that final conclusion, is that Ring is not as effective as open field. Yes, according to our calculations and simulations and everything, Ring is increasing our overall DPS by 7%. But this effect is actually halved on open field. If we consider how the open field fight works, it's usually back and forth, right? You attack one target 2, 3, maybe maximum 4 seconds. And then you pull back for 2-3 seconds, maximum 4 seconds as well, right? Without using that rage bar. And then you re-engage. On and off gaps in between when you are fighting on the open field, making the effect of Ring worse. When we see the Ring, it says you will gain 50% damage to, bonus damage dealt for 2 seconds. It doesn't say for the next 2 turns, but it it does say it for 2 seconds. There could be a possibility that half of the time you are gonna be losing this proc. Just because, let's say you attack someone and then your ring procs, but you just now end up going back and then just wasting this entire 2 seconds. Or you could utilize one of the seconds and dish out the damage, and then the last 1 second you just end up going back. Because of the current open field meta, you don't stand there, attack someone 100% of the time constantly. Ring's effect on open field is actually halved. Of course, ring is gonna give us full potential of 7% more, damage increase when we are talking about rally and garrison situation, but here we are talking about open field. So in reality, on open field, ring is not increasing our damage by 7%, but we can, safely assume that it is giving us around 3.5% damage increase. So if you consider this, Greatest Glory is now becoming better than the ring. Just because Greatest Glory will be 5% damage increase all the time. There, even if you go back and forth, on average, Greatest Glory is just gonna be yielding more on open field as compared to the ring. So with this one, we can draw out conclusion. Horn and Greatest Glory is actually the best for LC March, especially when Liu Che is primary. Ring and Greatest Glory combination can still be used without Horn, especially when it comes to Scipio plus LC scenario. Does this mean that you should replace your ring with Greatest Glory? Not necessarily, man. If you really want to min-max, yes, Horn Greatest Glory is the best choice, but again, Horn plus ring can still be used with the Liu Che. Anyways, with that, the video ends here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great day, and peace. Hey, by the way, don't forget to leave a like, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe now, man. And if you haven't subscribed, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, this is your chance. Hit that subscribe button. God damn it. Hit that subscribe button and follow the channel.